Well, welcome back, everyone. G'day, Brett. How you going?
Very well, thank you. Another day in paradise, mate.
Yeah. Got to enjoy it, mate. Got to enjoy it. You only have one life. Make the most
true.
of it.
Yeah.
Look, a while back, we touched on operational excellence in the security discussion. Now, I know that some time ago, you and I sat down and went, oh, holy shit, we're sitting there doing all these programs of work across various portfolios. And you came up with, let's call it a brainchild of operational excellence. And what does it mean? And we pulled resources together. So I'm very keen to understand what your thinking was, what influenced it, and can you give us some insight into what you believe is operational excellence?
Sure. I mean, I did see, I think we got a little bit of feedback on that from one of the last videos. So happy to be put on the spot with that one. I suppose you've been doing a lot of the talking now, so I guess it's kind of my turn. So I mean, operational excellence or operational excellence program is not new. I mean, it really is what's important to your business or your company or the infrastructure that you're in or operating. So I'll probably start with that. What is important to you, and what do you want to get out of it? I know there's Six Sigma purists out there that I'm going to rattle some stuff off, and they go, that's not right. That's fine. That's just kind of the keys and the takeaways. So I guess there's four main kind of sections. Continuous service improvement would be one, right? Continually improve and get better. Organisational excellence. So, what's the organisation as a whole? We touched on, hey, it's not just the security guys at the front, or it's not just the operations team out the back, or the sales team. Tie them all together. Processes and your systems, and then culture is one. Something that people always leave out, and I'll touch on that one at the end. But so they're the four main things. When we've been doing this for a number of years, and we always kind of come back to those four now, right? Mm-hmm. And what good looks like, and particularly operationally, when we're trying to tie, in the data center industry now, there might be 4 or 5 operational teams interacting in that environment, right? Front of house, back of house, security, or whatever jobs they're doing, depending on the org structure in your organisation. That's all different from country to country, state to state, and kind of go from there. So the main one is, so we'll start with that. So organisational excellence. So what is the purpose of your operational excellence program? It is really, looking at setting the direction, the strategic direction, or where you want to go. There's no point rolling in a whole audit team or just giving an audit a fancy name or, putting a program in place without, really explaining it to everybody and what you're trying to do. You need the right goals and then the accountability of it as well, right? People miss that. So you can set your goals, but then who's accountable to hit that goal? And that needs to be communicated to the teams. Metrics. Hey, it needs to be measurable. You can't go out there and say, hey, we're doing all this stuff. There's your little gold star, put on your forehead, without, having a look at it, right? And then the results. So another part of that organisational excellence is the results to guide the business, right? So you're going to gather all this data once you put this program in place. What are you going to do with that, right? There's going to be stuff there that you're shooting the lights out with. How does that get disseminated throughout the organisation? There's going to be stuff there that you find across multiple different facilities or sections that they're all weak in one area, right? Well, how can we improve, right? So what you're really looking at there is you're only as strong as your weakest link. Where's your baseline, and then how can we all come up together as an organisation? Business processes. I mean, the industry that we're in, right? Human error still plays a massive part. I think you spoke about that a little bit. Your insider threat, and with some of those layers, 80% of the data center outages are still the person, right? It's still human error. We're still seeing that. I think the Uptime Institute released the figures there from 2022. It's around that. It's still that 80%. So processes are there to prevent the errors and ultimately increase speed, right? Replicatable, keep going through. But no point in having a process if the team in charge of it or the person that's going to use it doesn't know anything about it. He's not fluent in it, right? So you want to have that as part of your operational excellence program. Does he know what he's doing? Does he know the process? Can he use it? Has he been trained to do it? You know, is there a feedback mechanism to say, hey, how do we update this process? And do they know how to do it? Yeah. Are those processes being followed? And consistency, right? Particularly on the operation side, security side, we want to remove that human error. You know, outages are bad, downtime's bad. You know, we're in the business of risk mitigation, as we kind of spoke about, you know, over the last couple of weeks. All feeds into that. Thing about processes too, hey, is there a mechanism there to say that they're adequate?
Yeah.
People forget that. So you need that as part of your operational excellence program. Like, hey, I do this. I start my generator this way. I've been doing it for 10 years. Hey, that generator was upgraded 12 months ago. We've changed the controller. We don't have to do that anymore, right? You're doing old type of stuff. Then the process might be defective, right? The chiller's been changed. We've changed the crack units. There's stuff there that the teams are doing that might be redundant. So you've got to go out and check it, right? Is it still current? Is it still good? And ultimately there in your business processes, are you getting the outcome across your multiple teams within your facility to deliver on what they're supposed to be doing? So what we're paying them to do, are they doing it? Okay. And that's why we're going to go out and check. So I think, like to look at it. We want to be harder on ourselves. I know when we set that up, and we all sat around the big round table and like, this is where we're going as an organisation. This is what's going to be important to us, with the mantra of, well, we're going to be harder on ourselves than any customer or auditor could possibly be, you know, and we're going to hold ourselves accountable. And, you know, got to get the buy-in of everybody on that. And I'll get to that in a second. Continuous service improvement, right? So very cliche, yeah, everyone can do it, but what does it actually mean, right? So ultimately is, you know, the customer, we're providing a service, yeah? So how can we improve that service? How can we improve the benefits to the customer? How can we make sure we don't have any outages? How can we make sure we continually improve? You know, the industry itself, exponential growth, you know, probably 3 or 4 years ago, 40 megawatts, everyone's like, ooh, now it's 100, 150, 200, 300. You're hearing people announce 500 plus megawatt sites. Complexity in that, right? So how are you going to manage that at scale? Right, we need a process in there to come through and have a look at that, and the benefits of that is increased customer satisfaction, right? So if you're a big multinational or a big single country entity organisation, you want them to have the same standard from one end of the country to the other, or one end of the globe to the other, right? When you interact with us, it's going to be like this, and the same experience that they get in North America will be the same experience they get in Europe. The process is the same, and you're going out there and checking it. Continual service improvement also, hopefully, if we're doing it properly, decrease cost and our product quality. So what we're delivering is coming through. So if you can package all that together in your operational excellence program, very powerful, all right? And then culture, kind of touched on that at the start. So you got to take everybody on the journey. It's culture change management, I suppose, but the why, not just another audit, or why are you telling me this, or what's the score metrics? Is it fair? And why did that guy get 9 out of 10 and why do I only get 7 out of 10? It has to be transparent. So internally, everyone can see. I'm like, oh, yeah, man, that team's awesome. They got a gold rating, or they got 90% or 99% or whatever that is. So really with that culture piece, then it's pulling everyone together, common purpose across the organisation, right? So, hey, exponential growth, you know, let's use an example. We currently own and operate, lease out, whatever it is, 20 data centres across 5 different countries. The company's saying growth is going to be X. We're going to 50 data centres in 10 countries, right? Right. How are we going to do that, right? So it's that common purpose across the organisation, and then using your operational excellence program to go out there and make sure that's kind of being put in. Culture also, when you get it right, the right people in the right seats attracts and retains the right staff, and then they can communicate that down, right? There's no point having the people in the front lines all fully bought in, let's do it, makes complete sense. If the upper and middle management layers don't have a bar of it, it's not going to work, right? So you've got to have that cultural piece. So all the leadership at all levels need to be fully aligned to your operational excellence program, because I can guarantee you, once you go through and you map it out, you might have 10 A3 sheets of paper with questions, and it takes a full week to go through, and hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to look at everything, right? It's going to be uncomfortable for people, right? Because there's going to be some stuff in there and it's not their fault. Oh, no one's showed me this, or I've never read that procedure, or I've never don't know that. That's changed 6 months ago. Where was the bulletin? No one told me, right? As long as everyone understands that it's there to, push yourself up the hill and all come together. Very powerful. It does take a bit of time to get in play. But what you'll see is it becomes almost like a competition. They're waiting for the results of, well, what that guy get on the other side of the country to what I got, and that, put your own professional reputation against each other. So, look, they're the four main things. Now, in those four, and there's so many different subsets. Again, tie it back to what you as an organisation, or you as a company specifically looking for. But that would be the main four on what would a good operational excellence program look like. And look, some of the stuff in there, we even go right down to trees hanging over the fence. How's the foyer presented? Like, there is a whole list on just customer experience items. It takes them like a day to walk around the facility before they even get into any of the questions, right? Why? The company that we're employed with, that's important to them, right? So it's in there. And there's some examples. So.
No, look, that's great. Thanks for that. And like you said, there's quite a few areas in there that have a lot of touch points, and we can go into a lot more detail in. And I see there's a few questions that have come up that we can definitely address offline. I want to make it clear too, and I'm sure you will support me on this, is when we're talking operational excellence, we're not just talking about the machines in the background that run the facilities. We're talking about security. We're talking about your health and safety. You touched on it, your customer experience. It's, is your site clean? You can make this as long or as big as or small as you like, depending on where you want to take it as an organisation. The question I've got for you is, how do you ensure you have the right people for the right job? Because, a lot of people think, I'll hire an electrician and they can do 10 different things for me, is one question I got for you, which then affects the culture of your organisation, and then affects the buy-in, because you touched on it a few times. I haven't been shown that. So how do you ensure you get the right people in the right seat on the bus and ensure that they're doing the right job?
Very open-ended question there. Look, depending on your org structure, I guess we've got probably put a caveat on there. Some might have their own risk and compliance level 2 operational excellence teams that are coming in, and can't directly influence what they're reviewing or what they're auditing, and that type of thing. So I think the first thing is, how do you get the right person in the right position or on the bus? I think it really starts when you're hiring. You've got to be crystal clear on what their role is going to be, what the expectation of the role is, how they're going to be measured, right? Clear expectation on KPIs, key performance indicators, what we're going to track, what we're going to track on you every month, every quarter, every week. And then really use your culture / company values. Company values, super important, right? Does the individual align to those, right? Super super important. I mean, the industry itself has exploded over the past, decade, and it's not slowing down. So we're pulling people from all over and then teaching them about the industry. I didn't start my career in the data center industry. I don't think you did either. I'm ex-defense. So these individuals that you're pulling in align to those values. Yeah. So the hiring process is super critical. What background, what skill sets do they have? It doesn't have to be trade skills, right? They could be soft skills. You can teach a person to do their job, but you can't teach character, right? The next thing there is probably interviewed on paper, done really well, but he's struggling. So, okay, why are they struggling? Do we have a support network? Do we have a training program in place? Is the manager above, is he any good? Right? Are they doing their job? Right?
Are they invested in your program?
Are they invested in it? This is just another bloody, another tick in the box, just it's something for, corporate, or it's something for head office just to, hang over me. No, it's, you got to take them on there. So look, all those things, do I have the right person on the bus? And then, when you're sitting down with them and you're running them through the program, you can gauge, what's going on and what's their feedback. At the end of it, hey, give us your feedback on the process. Oh, what about this? What about that? Put all that in. And ultimately, the report's going to come out, right? So there is a report because everybody wants to see it. Your CEO, your executive want to see it. They want to see how they're tracking. The heads of department or middle level managers who are responsible for that area, they want to see it. Hey, this is what we've observed. This is what we think you can do better. This is what you're doing kind of outstanding, and that all kind of feeds into it. And then, look, I think once all those are explained, if it's too difficult for someone, maybe he's the right person, but he's in the wrong role. Or, sorry, maybe they are the right person, but they're in the wrong role. Is there another role for them in the business? All right, we've done all that, the preemptive, but we still got it wrong when we hired. But they'd be awesome over here. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So.
And I really love the idea of sharing the metrics because that really drives competition, which is what you want, isn't it? Really.
Well. Yeah, I guess, if you look at your portfolio, your security team leaders or your security operations managers, they're all doing the same function, right? How do we know that they're doing that? We need the metrics and the KPIs on them, right? It's no different for operations perspective. A lot of data on the ops side, right? So we can, tracking power and humidity and the bunding on, bunding off, their processes, their procedures, are they following on all that type of stuff? So as long as that's clear, I suppose we're getting on a little bit of change management of implementing of the program. But once it's embedded and it's in and everyone kind of understands it, it's not there to hang you. It's there to make you better. Right? Yeah. Because guess what? If you've got the right person in the right seat and he's seen someone in Perth pull a 95 out of 100, whatever your scoring mechanism is, and he got 80, you should be, well, go and read it, right? What do I need to do to get myself there? Or pick up the phone and talk to that individual. Well, how do you do it? Right? Yeah. And then this is what you can do better type stuff.
And look, I think what's key too is, and you've touched on it, and I'd be keen to understand more on the operational excellence program can also be a measure of your training program because
it's definitely for us it's a whole section, right? Yeah. Just with that sheer amount of people we're bringing in, I mean. We are experiencing, I guess the industry is experiencing churn as well, all that growth. That's its whole section, right? So, hey, did they complete their initial, onboarding training, all their, information security and safety training, and has he done his first aid, and has someone actually showed them what to do with their fire warden? He's on shift, but has he met these 10 things that we're looking for before he can actually start shift? Are they competent? Has anyone showed them how to start a diesel, how to swing a chiller, components of a crack unit, all that type of stuff? So training, I guess, and I would say for 99.99% of data center operators, that would be a section, right? Hey, let's go out, and it might not. You might be external, right? Hey, you're providing a body to operate this, either security ops side. Show me how that person is competent to come in here and do that. So, 100%. I mean, and that's continual, right?
Correct.
So, how do we take someone from a data center tech to be the head of facilities at COO? There has to be a path and a training program in place.
And I liked how you mentioned, the understanding of the training program and the regime, but added to that is, and something that I know you've deployed, is your checklists all around the place for your different environments, and
Right.
red, green, blue folders.
Yes. Yeah.
And we've done it across all areas. It's not just the operational environment. They're in the security environment. They're in the design environment. They're in your health and safety environment. Can you just share a bit more information on that?
Look, mate, that was just probably ex-military coming out of me. We color-coded their folders, so I didn't want them to think, right?
Yeah.
Green's good, red's bad, right? Use your green one every day because that's got your SOPs in it. And your red one, kind of red, you're dead. That's the emergency one. Pick that up, and when you're training, even when you train or when you're in the middle of a cascading event or an incident, that first 5 minutes on how on-site reacts or how the knock reacts to get the right person in the right position can save a lot of time, right? So look, color coding folders, we use yellow for, policies and procedures, if it's sitting in their command center, so incident process or business continuity, it's sitting there. So he doesn't have to scan through all the white things looking for the binder name. It was more red, green, yellow. There's a blue one there now too. Look, it was just speed it up, right? It's all about time and process. So if everybody knows green's good or red's bad, they can reach for it, right? So if they're walking down the hall and there's a massive water leak or something, right? Where's my procedure for this? Bang, there's a red one, right? I'm giving him time. So, but color-coded folders sound great, but if they don't know how to use them, or no one's taught them how to use them, it sounds good on YouTube or on the podcast, but it's effectively paperweight, mate.
Yeah, and but again, that's where your operational excellence program comes into effect. Yep. And, I know when they look at the security handbook that's there for emergencies, I know part of the operational excellence program that we've put together, there is a question on that and what is in that. They're just you're targeting people. You don't really want to what's the word I'm looking for? Make them fail. It's more them understanding that they've got to pick up that at that point in time, and then everything else is in there for them to effectively make it easy.
Look, 100%. So look, I'll give you some of the stuff that we look at. So we have 10 sections. We have a section on site, right? Site walk around. So that we've integrated all of the security, operational, customer, some sales stuff, right? We have a staffing and organisation section, right? So rosters, onboarding, police checks, was it done, P&C, so they get looped in on that. We have an operation and maintenance section, right? So MOPS, SOPs, maintenance management system, vendor onboarding, we have a training section. We have a whole section on the security, like the security operation. So it's a whole part of it's one section, but it's interlinked, right? Because as we know, security is everyone's responsibility, but they're interlinked. So how a vendor or how one of your suppliers comes into your environment, he's been front of house, going back through, he's using a mop for the, let's just call them operations team out the back. But how he's interacted with probably 2 or 3 teams, throughout the day to do that task, right? So we're looking for, was it right at the front, middle, and end, right? So it's kind of interlinked. Got a section on network connectivity. There's a whole section on training. There's a section on alarming, let's call it a command center knock, SOC type stuff. So we've got in there, is that kind of being looked at as per, policy and procedure. I think that's only 8. So I've missed 2 off the top of my head. But
No, you've
and
done
in
well.
that, there's a lot, like there's a number of like deep dive into those, right? But that was important to the organisation that it was set up for. It may we go to another data center company, they might change that role, but that's fine. But what's important to them? What's their strategic direction? What's the metrics they want? And what does good look like? Yeah,
Look,
for them.
And that's exactly where I guess I was trying to get the conversation to go to, is the fact that it's not only for a DC environment, it can be for any environment, and that even though it's got the word operational excellence, you mentioned there, you mentioned P&C, you mentioned safety, you mentioned sales, you mentioned the customer.
Yep.
People tend to forget that operations is effectively the whole of the business. That is what is running in the background. As I mentioned previously in some of the security portfolios, it's about the need to know and the need to go to certain environments, which you've touched on as well. And,
and the program, we go back and check. Well, was that done right? Do we need to improve that? Right? There's a fair bit going on. It's like, small little team, but they're flat out. They're on the road every week or every second week, or virtual. So there's a fair bit that's going on and being collated. But I think the biggest thing there is, what are you doing well, and you got to celebrate it and share it, and then what do we need to improve on, right? And then share those learnings, because if 3 or 4 of your sites you've seen the same issue, bang, hey, we've got a bigger problem here. Why is that? Let's go and have a look.
And look, for some of our international viewers, the beauty about this is that you can set it up. It's cross-border. It doesn't affect. It's effectively it's a foundation, which then effectively can help you drive, like you mentioned, that cultural advancement of your organisation, and that unity across your portfolio, no matter where it is in the world. You've got that underlying foundation measure that can help you achieve what you're doing at your best site.
And that's right. Look, I wouldn't say we're good at it. I'd say we're good at it. We're not great at it, but again, it's getting better, right? But multiple teams have their say on it. The safety team, bang, I need you to go and check this, because they're doing their own checks, but they want you to check it, right? Risk and compliance, hey, they've got all their certifications and all their ISO programs, hey, bang. So they're all having input into it, right? The operations managers, what's important there? The executive, bang, customer success, security, service delivery, bang. They're all kind of, hey, well, you're going out, and I've just rattled off, what was that, 6 or 7 teams. So all those teams are interacting in your environment. Yeah. And
look, it's a very good selling point for your sales team as well, to be able to have this in their back pocket. So when the customer asks them, yes, we see all these certifications, what are you doing?
What's it mean?
Everyone can get let's be honest, anyone can get a certification.
Correct.
How are you ensuring that you maintain that, as a minimum level of what you're doing, and what are you doing to better yourself? So this is effectively bettering yourself as part of your organisation. So
it's super critical. The companies get it, will lead it. And if I was consulting for a company or something like that, you would be looking for this. If they're sitting there and they led with their mech engineer and, hey, we're tier 4, I'm out. See you later, mate.
That's interesting, that one.
Maybe that's a topic for another discussion. But if that's all you've got, N plus N, or you're fault tolerant, see you later. Yeah,
that's a great time.
I'm going to a good tier 3 that's got their processes in place and know how to operate it, right?
Yeah, that is definitely a topic in itself that we need to bring up.
Yeah, so probably just upset a few engineers here, but that's fine. That's what we do.
Look, but again, so you mentioned it at the start, and people tend to forget your strategic direction. This needs to be incorporated at the design phase before it's even built. Whatever environment you're doing, correct me if I'm wrong, if you don't have this sort, if you want this program, then you need to be able to share this program right at the forefront, So you're building your environments to how you want to operate them.
Yeah, I think, look, definitely input into the design process. I wouldn't say it will fail if it's not there at the design. Like if you purchased a data center, we can roll it in across the top or another, whatever. Hey, you might have 50 service stations, right? This would apply. Go out there and check, how they've been operated. So, it is crucial. I mean, that, again, that's probably a whole nother topic. But yeah.
Great. Well, thanks for that, Brett. I think we've got quite a few more topics that have come out of this discussion today that
I think so.
we'll definitely be sharing in the next couple of podcasts, because I can see we've got a definitely a lot of interest in this, and it's a very interesting topic because it does affect the whole organisation, and I guess that's what we're about. And again, this is our opinion, guys. This is how we like to run things and what we like to do. So I want to make that clear, but it is something that is definitely of interest.
No problem. Anytime. I look forward to the next one.
Cheers. All right. Thanks, guys.
See ya. Bye.
All right. Bye.